Yo, what's up, guys? I'm Hyder, and I just kind of wanted to talk about deep cuts, like the creation, any inspirations and stuff. The current album I'm working on right now, Signal, that's coming out this year. So make sure to check that out when I start dropping singles for that. Hopefully, the first one will be soon. I just got the some of the final masters back, but I'm getting some edits on those, and they're sounding really good. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear what I have. But yeah, deep cuts. It feels like forever since that released. Especially because I haven't dropped anything since. I'm kind of getting into like a new cycle of like how I do music and stuff. It's just so I can consistently like deliver stuff for you guys. I talked about that in my last video, but yeah, deep cuts, that was like it was kind of a headache to make. Honestly, albums can be a headache to make, especially if you are not prepared. And I kind of learned that down the road a little later than I wish I would have, but even with deep cuts, I was still kind of not 100% sure of what I wanted to do, even though I've had some people tell me that it sounded like I did when it released as a full project, which makes me extremely happy to hear. But yeah, that whole album was kind of a mess trying to get that released. The way I did it is I was recording songs pretty much as they came out. So like when I dropped 4:05 a.m. in January, think I might have been working on Demons at like that same time, so I at least had 2 songs ready to go, but I was pretty much releasing the song in January. Then into February, I was still kind of wrapping things up with the next song, Demons. But past like leaving with Raven, past that point, like the last at least 3 to 4 songs on the album, I was still writing I had a couple weeks left to like get it done. So I was like, oh, this would be like a good way to like get work done. I'll like push myself to like get work done more consistently, but it was more so just stressful. And I feel like certain things on the album I rushed, and there are definitely a lot of things I would have changed with that album, just like any other album anyone would have ever released. I think a lack of planning just kind of made it a little bit harder to get exactly how I wanted. So I kind of had to reset my entire process, and that's kind of what I'm doing with this new album. I don't really have anything that I would go back on. I really put everything into all these new songs. I'm really glad I did that because I don't know, Deep Cuts at least was the most recent project that had the least amount of things that I would change about it. It's one that I'm still happy with today, which is a problem I had with previous releases. Before Deep Cuts, I was going back and listening to certain tracks off there, and I was like, I would have changed this, and I wish I would have took this out. And especially a lot of things on Under Fire, I felt like were undercooked and stuff, even though there's a lot of good tracks on there that I still like to this day. But just having like a planned schedule for like creating your music is like a must have. There is like a point that I was trying to make to myself with deep cuts, because I was getting into like a weird mindset a little bit before Under Fire, where I was kind of like being an over perfectionist with certain things, and I wouldn't put songs out until like way later, because I was like, oh, I gotta go back and fix all these little details, and it was just really draining. And with the deep cuts like rollout, that's why I kind of like pushed myself to like have to still be writing by a certain time frame to get certain things out. So I feel like that was just like not a great idea. I don't know, I guess you just kind of have to grow as an artist and kind of learn your limits and like know when to stop and say like, this is good enough, because no song can really be perfect. And that's kind of the beauty in it though. But even still, with all that pressure, Deep Cuts was still like extremely fun to make. Everything was pretty streamlined, even with the feature from Raven. I mean, I've worked with a lot of people that I haven't really released stuff with, and just finding a collaborator that works fast and kind of gets the idea right away is like absolutely a blessing. And Raven was that exact person. I had sent her the instrumental and just like a little, this is what the song is about, this is the kind of vibe I'm going for. And I think it was like 3 hours later after I sent the message, she sent back a full verse, and I was blown away. I was like, okay, you just wrote, okay, I can work with that. And it was pretty much perfect from the first draft. I got a little scared because I thought she would make me look bad on the track, because she just killed it. Like, it was so good. But that was such an exciting little moment in the album. Having that on there was amazing. I still absolutely love that song. And shout out to Raven. Yeah, but other than that, I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the influences and albums that maybe influenced the album or certain specific songs. The song Demons, I kind of was getting into hyperpop at the time, at least maybe like a year before that or so. I was kind of getting into that pretty heavy, even though that's kind of like the year that it started dying, and it's like especially dead now. But I'm glad I kind of got sort of a hyperpop vibe into one of my projects. Demons, like the chorus was like at least instrumentally hyperpop inspired, with the big bass and the kind of glitchy sound effects within it. And the verses were like super breakdance inspired. If you're a producer, you know breakdance is like mind-blowing every time he drops something. I was trying to put my own little twist on it, but the like super hyper gated vocal kind of super compressed pop kind of sound, I was kind of going for like a older breakdance, like his like Dropout era, like Punk 2 kind of stuff. That was kind of like when I first discovered his stuff, so I was kind of leaning towards that kind of vibe. I've been having a lot of fun putting like more references to movies or things into my songs, because I feel like I haven't had enough of that. And I kind of want to like put little Easter eggs into the tracks and see if anyone picks up on them. But that song specifically, there was a bunch of like Evil Dead references, which is a franchise I absolutely love. Evil Dead 1, 2, Army of Darkness, the 2013 remake even. I absolutely love that movie. It's like almost one of my favorites, even though I do love the originals, especially Evil Dead 2. That's like, I think, the best of the original series. Ash versus Evil Dead. Definitely, if you're a fan of Evil Dead and you haven't seen that, it's 100% worth checking out. It's hilarious, and I mean, Bruce Campbell is just amazing. But as far as like influences go, I feel like I've kind of gotten to a point in my creative journey since I've been doing this. I've been producing music since I was 11 years old. I think I was playing drums when I was 10, so I've been doing this for a little while. But in my creative journey, I feel like I've gotten to a point where I can kind of find my own space, even if it's influenced by genres or albums or certain sounds. I can still kind of put my own twist on it because I've had so much time to sit with myself in a creative space and kind of find my own voice, which is really cool. And that's getting more apparent on newer music that I work on. But definitely across the album, there's this lo-fi artist named Alex, and I've been listening to him for forever. He just makes really like chill kind of lo-fi beats, and well, at least that's what he was doing originally. Now he's kind of doing more experimental stuff. Songs like Help Me Out, Pretend, or Next to You, those are like some of his big ones. Go check those out if you haven't heard them. They're amazing tracks. But it's kind of stuff like that had like inspired Leaving or any other kind of tracks along that like kind of chill guitar with like a chill beat in the background. I love that kind of style, and that definitely works its way into a lot of my stuff. If you go back through my like old catalog, you can tell I was listening to a lot of Alex back then and kind of incorporating that into like every song, every chance I had. So, and speaking of Alex, it definitely is kind of inspired on the song Feedback, especially his project MU_1. I think this album is a absolute masterpiece. It's kind of like ambient, chill guitar, drone music, meditation kind of stuff that you could just put on and fall asleep to. It's really beautiful. It definitely inspired Feedback, kind of along with Deftones' White Pony. That song was definitely inspired by Pink Maggot, because that song I was like obsessed with at the time. I still am. The song is amazing. It's definitely a 10 out of 10 song. But something about that song and the explosion of energy when like everything kicks in, I kind of wanted to mirror that in a way and kind of do my own electronic kind of twist on it. But yeah, it's like the further I go, the more different types of music I listen to, the different styles and genres that I get into. I feel like I do get more ideas to pull from, and therefore kind of more like creative and original ideas to then create from those styles. I do like firmly believe that listening to more types of music, more music in general, you have to be getting your reps in. So you should be creating all the time while listening to new styles of music to like grab from all these different styles and kind of create something new and mix all these things together. Especially with a lot of stuff that I'm seeing coming out recently. It's kind of all over the place, but somehow kind of all melds together in this weird way. And it's a lot of fun. So you're not just like kind of stuck making the same thing over and over and over over. But yeah, that's pretty much like all the inspirations for deep cuts. I've been wanting to sit down and talk about this for a long time, so I'm glad I finally did. If there's anything from the album that you picked up on, you're like, hey, that sounds like something else, I would love to hear. Let me know what your favorite track from that album was, and I can't wait for you guys to hear this next project. I'm extremely excited. So love you guys. Peace.